Welcome back to Justice for Olivier Panis in Formula 197, and round 11 brings us to Hungary, to Budapest, to the Hungaroring. This circuit has quite an interesting record to its name. It took only 8 months to build, which is less time than any other Formula 1 track at the time. And I thought, well, this is a record that was set in the 1980s, surely it's been beaten. Like, we all remarked about how quickly they seem to be throwing up the Jeddah Corniche circuit, but apparently that took around 10 months to build. This was built quicker. Forget well done Baku, well done Budapest for absolutely vomiting out a Formula 1 track. First race was held in 1986 and it's not been off the calendar since. Literally, despite everything that's happened in the world, we have never failed to come to Hungary. It is famously not a great place for overtaking, but it has delivered some pretty good races over the years, whether it's due to the changeable weather conditions or some interesting strategies playing out and, keeping it intriguing. In fact, the race that we're replaying today is one of those classics. Qualifying for the 1997 Hungarian Grand Prix was a pretty standard affair. Schumacher was on pole and Villeneuve was second. It was all pretty standard stuff. Damon Hill was third in the arrow, so, moving on. Yes, the car that couldn't even make the start in Australia was suddenly third on the grid in Hungary. Well, I say suddenly, it was work throughout the season that Arrows did to develop the car and move it along. Hill, helped. He was good at developing the car. We knew that from his testing days at Williams. And the story to this day is that Arrows just had a setup and a chassis and a design that worked well at this track, just better than others. In the same way how Force India and later Racing Point always seemed to be a little bit better at Spa than any other track. And also, it was a lot to do with Hill as well. For comparison, Pedro Diniz was 19th. I mean, we've taken the piss out of Shinji Nakano a bit, but Jesus Christ, Pedro. Speaking of Nakano, well, he was 16th, just 4 places behind Jarno Trulli in 12th. So once again, the Prost boys not as quick on a Saturday. For us, it's an interesting track. There's a few corners where the AI will be quick, because it's the long sweeping corners where they just seem to have grip and carry all the speed. But there's a few corners where we can flick through quicker than them, and I think we'll gain some time. I'm going to put the target as match or beat Trulli's 12th. I'd like to be higher because, like I said, first half of the season, consistency was a real problem, and we just need to keep scoring consistently if we want to have any chance at closing down on the top 2. So yeah, I'm saying 12th, but hopefully we can do something a little better. And because people liked it last time out, I'm not going to do the highlights. I'm just going to retrospectively commentate over my best lap, and considering I knew it was going to be a tough session, it gave me the opportunity to just purely concentrate on the driving, and also hay fever was beating me up, as you can probably tell, so I just give my blocked nose a rest. So into turn 1, try and hug the inside and then run it as wide as you can on exit, just regulate the throttle. Similar again for turn 2. Not the best there, trying to keep it as smooth as possible, and then it's flick through 3 and 4. 4 is one of the turns that I think we can do quite well on. Hug the inside, take a little bit of the curb, you can take it pretty much flat. Then hold in for the long sweeping turn 5. Early in the session, so yes, we're 3/10 up at the minute, but as we saw on screen, the estimated pole time is still a long way off. Go a little bit rallycross through that one just to help me get turned round, not deliberate. Take a lot of the curb so we can flatten the angle of this one, and again, you don't have to lift off. Similar again coming into turn 11. That was a nice angle through there. And then essentially 12 and 13 are just like 1 and 2, so a couple of long sweeping corners again. Try and hug the inside as best we can. That's going to be important in the race so people don't try and nick up the inside of us. You want to try and judge that final corner so you can get on the throttle as early as possible, and we hit the line on 1 minute 10.018. Still early in the session, so obviously third will drop us back. But I felt I could go quicker. It's only lap 4. I thought I could get into the 1 minute 9s at least, but I didn't. And before I'd even seen what the result was, I decided to tweak my setup. I knew it wasn't good, and I also knew that I wasn't going to be able to run that setup for the race for consistent running, so I've upped the downforce a bit more. Now it's time to see where we ended up. I do have a bad feeling about this, I'm afraid. I pushed everything I could, but knowing what the expected pole time is, and there it is, Schumacher and pole on 1 minute 6 from Villeneuve. That consistency just doesn't let up. Frentzen third, Alesi fourth, Coulthard fifth, and Berger sixth. And how bad is it going to be? Hill is 10th. Oh no. We're behind Nakano. Oh, that's awful. I can't seem to find a balance between good turning but carrying enough speed. That was tough. That sucked. Let's talk about something happy, the 1997 Hungarian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill had an amazing start from third. He overtook Villeneuve. Remember, he's in a championship fight with Schumacher, and Hill, who's been nowhere, just overtook him at the start and was hunting down Schumacher for the lead. Hill caught Schumacher by lap 6, passed him for the lead on lap 11, and opened up a gap that was 35 seconds. However, a famous win was snatched away on lap 74 when a throttle linkage failure meant he had to slow right down. He was stuck in third gear. Villeneuve passed him, and Villeneuve won. Hill second in the end. It was the best result ever for Yamaha engines in Formula 1. As I mentioned last time, there are a few charity predictions involving specifically Damon Hill, but there's also one from the Maundy 69 who put a prediction in specifically to do with this race. So he's 10th on the grid. Keep an eye on him. He might do something. He did make his way up into the points at Hockenheim. Herbert was 3rd, Schumacher was 4th, Ralf Schumacher was 5th, and then Nakano was 6th, and Trulli was 7th. So, like in Hockenheim, slow in qualifying, but decent race pace. And Nakano outperforming Trulli. I need points, but from 18th, that's a big ask. Such a big ask. Yeah, I'm going to put the target as points. I know that's optimistic, but let's see what we can do. That is a lot of traffic. There's our teammate just to the left. The lights go on. And we are away at Hungary. That's not a bad start compared to usual. All right, let's watch out for some erratic moves here and see what we can do. Into turn 1. Oh! Dear me. Some interesting fighting with the Tyrrell. Oh, we're in an awkward position here. Move, mate. Oh, for crying out loud. Leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space. Right, the big thing is I can't get caught up in the fact that I'm losing time. I just need to try and drive the track to the best of my abilities and I end up where I end up. Good run from that one. Decent run on Salo. Up the inside. Oof. And the closing speed to the Jordan was not ideal. Most important thing is on these longer sweeping corners, just keep it on the apex so they can't nick up the inside. That's the most important thing. If I'm going to be slow on the racing line. Oh, and an accident in turn 1. And that was at Arrows. I hope it wasn't Hill. Oh, but I'm on the outside. The Ferrari's back through. Oh, but we can nick back in. Good little bit of racing there. We're past Irvine. Back behind this Jordan again. Get a decent kick off that corner. And it temporarily gives us some respite from the car behind. But then these two corners and immediately, even on the racing line, Irvine is trying to barge his way through. Sorry, mate, definitely not. Basically, the final turn, turn 1 and turn 2 are just not good for us. They're really not good for us at all. Because they are exactly the sort of turn where the AI just nail it every time. Oh dear, don't do that, for crying out loud. Oh dear, oh dear. Don't know if breaking the toe works, but that's what I'm doing. There is a Panis train on lap 4. You know, I've thrown criticism at the other game that I've been playing through, Newman Haas Racing, because it is incredibly inconsistent with the AI, with how tough they are. Not just between tracks, but even between sessions. And I've not really criticised F197 for it, but it has to be said, as great as this game is, as much as it is a better game than Newman Haas Racing, a brilliant move. But I'm going to try and get straight back at him. Go on. If I'm not going to have getting the points, let's just have a good scrap down here. Why not? Scrap with Nicola Larini. Why not? He'll be having the time of his life. He was sacked by this point in real life. Yeah, as much as this is a better game than Newman Haas Racing by far, and it gets a lot more right, the AI are overpowered in some corners and underpowered in others. So you think, well, okay, fair enough, that should balance it out, right? But that's all dependent on the circuit. Oh, I've gone wide again. Larini's surely going to be right there. Well, I think he might have hit me then. I didn't feel anything. But he seemed to come to a dead stop. And Schumacher is flying away. Over 8 seconds ahead. Oh, wow. I've done hit Larini. I know I went wide, but that was still a very optimistic dive bomb. No wonder you got sacked, mate. We've had to abandon our hope of points in the top 10 very early on. So my new objective is simple. I am 11th is my position. No one is getting it.
Hello there.
You are taking a mick, right? Off. No one is getting it. Immediately loses 2 places. Right, back past the arrows. Oh, how has the arrows stayed with me there? I'm sorry. Oh, the anger is real. Come off it, mate. No. We've got a McLaren and a Ferrari down with us, so I feel a little bit better that, you know, those guys are also having a bit of a moment. Oh! I'm sorry. How is that a black and white flag for me? That Eddie Irvine just decided, yep, you know what? There wasn't a space there. I'm just going to not brake for the corner. The one saving grace is the next couple of tracks. I feel like... No, he didn't. Mika Hakkinen just hit me. Like, it's physically impossible for me to go around that corner and carry the speed that they do through it. Unreal. Is that Shinji f***ing Nakano? I swear to God, I am not in the mood for you today, mate. Definitely not. Yeah, the one saving grace is we've got a couple of circuits coming up that I feel like we will do well at. And that other people have commented and said, you know what, these are some of the circuits that you'll have a better time. Spa, Monza, next. And I've got a positive feeling about both of those that we can get points at least. But even then, we are at the mercy of reliability because we had some good points taken away from us at Silverstone. Like, why couldn't the engine have blown up here instead? That would have been fine. Oh no, my engine's blown up from 13th. Oh well. Not third while I'm bearing down on the Williams, and now... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Excuse me. There we go. Here's Nakano. We've already had some moments. A moment this season. Whoa! Nicola Larini with a huge explosion. We haven't seen many failures for other people, but that is a big one. Unfortunately, he's managed to catch fire in the middle of the road. So he's blocked Shinji Nakano. So, Nicola, I'm sorry I said that's why you got sacked. I appreciate that one. Thanks for doing me a solid. Well, the one thing that is consistent about us, we are very inconsistent. Another tough day at the office. But better times are coming. What I could do with, though, is this hay fever just actually going in the bin. Well, I was not... Whoa! I was not expecting that as a result. Heinz-Harald Frentzen has won his first ever Grand Prix for Williams and... at all. Oh, my nose needs to get in the bin. Frentzen wins from Villeneuve and Schumacher. Pedro Diniz slagged off Pedro Diniz about his real life performance. So, but he goes and gets points for Arrows. He's 4th, while Hill was down in 11th. David Coulthard 5th, and Johnny Herbert in 6th. So, first point for Sauber this season. So this is what it does to the standings. Villeneuve is 20 points clear of Schumacher. Frentzen, oh, I like the guy, but he's retaken 3rd off us. I think this is the moment we have to accept that we have to just let 1st and 2nd go. We just aren't consistent enough. The fight is for 3rd with Frentzen. In the Constructors, Williams, well, it's a 1-2 for them, so very comfortable. They are 49 points clear. Fortunately, no Alesi, no Berger, which means we are still relatively safe from Benetton. Arrows have scored for the 2nd race in a row. And if I remember rightly, that surely means they're also on 6 points, right? And then Sauber also have scored, so they're 8th. They've got a point as well. Well, at least there was intrigue elsewhere, and there were some fights where we were, but unfortunately it was nowhere near the points. But next time out, Spa, I think we can do okay here. Long straights, some corners we'll do well at, some we won't, but I think it could be a circuit we perform at. I really hope so. Let's pick up the fight for 3rd. The championship is probably not there for Olivier Panis, but 3rd would still be a hell of an achievement ahead of the other Williams. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you very soon.